I want to show you a quick video of my Poseidon 2 Vortex needle wheel skimmer, which I offer on my website in operation. This unit is a 16-inch chamber with a 4100 Gen X needle wheel. I've had it in my own sump for approximately 3 to 4 years now. In operation, it's been a wonderful skimmer for me. I wanted to show you a little bit about the chamber here really quick before I fire the skimmer up. You can see the couple interesting features of the skimmer is the return, telescoping return has a T on it, so the bulk of the water that comes out of the return actually exits or exhausts underwater, which makes for a really quiet, clean operation of the skimmer. Basically the water goes up into the telescope, and that just generates enough back pressure. There's hardly any flow out the top. If in case there ever was, I have a little foam on there just to protect any debris from getting out into the sump. You can see I have a single return here on the from the pump. It's pointed counterclockwise for a good directional spin in the chamber. If you look closely, there's a little acrylic, what I call the bubble baffle, that covers the return on the skimmer return. Deflects the bubbles from getting to that return. It even decreases exhaust of micro bubbles even further. All the returns are 1 inch. I have the telescope restricted under there with a little fitting that actually makes the restriction on the 1 inch down to a 1/2 inch. It gives me a little back pressure in the chamber, which increases the head pressure in the chamber, thus raising the levels. This is adjustable. You can raise that telescope to any level you like for wetter or drier skimmate, just like most other in-sump skimmers. You can see I use the uniseal connections for the chamber and for the pump as well. It penetrates the skimmer. Also, you can see back behind that telescope here, that also uses a uniseal to connect to the skimmer. So let me see if I can show you that. Yeah, you can see it right back there. Okay, so this is the skimmer not running. It's got a 3.5 inch foam riser. You can see a nice uniseal, which I'm the inventor of that. The cup connects to the chamber with the uniseal, which makes it very simple and easy to remove from the skimmer. You can do it basically with one hand. I'm going to pause for a second and show you how easy. Okay, I'm back. Basically, I just want to show you how quickly and easily you can remove the cup from the uniseal, which is a great feature of the skimmer. Also in the front, you can also notice there's a drain line there to help auto-drain the skimmer, and the black valve connected to the hose is going down to the venturi of the pump. So it's very quiet when it runs, as you'll hear, and that line being in the cup also helps to keep the venturi moist and that venturi line from going dry. It also has kind of like an overflow feature where if that drain line was to clog, this will kind of recycle it versus overflowing everything into your sump. So I'm going to show you really quickly. You can basically do it with one hand. It's very little clearance needed to remove the cup. The cup's about 4 inches, I believe, and there's a lid on top of it. So I'm going to go ahead and reach in here and remove the cup. So I can keep it on high here. So you can basically do it just by tilting the cup slightly, and as you see, it pops right out of the uniseal. Makes for a nice tight water seal, but an easy, quick release removal when you want to clean the skimmer. So basically there it's back in, and I'm going to go ahead and pause for a second, and then I'm going to turn on the skimmer so you can see it in operation. I think you'll be pretty pleased with how the skimmer operates. It's a very quiet skimmer. The only thing you should hear in the background is my overflow right there, which is a little noise, but this skimmer basically runs silent. So I'm going to pause for a second. I'm going to go turn on the skimmer, and let's watch it. The skimmer's running. The tank is chamber's filling up. You can see the water levels rising. You can see the amount of density in the chamber is fantastic with this needle wheel. It's quite a bit of flow, better flow than most of these needle wheel skimmers produce. You can see the whole chamber is basically solid white. And again, what I like about this design is the vortex motion in the chamber. I'm a believer in turbulence in protein skimmers. Just like in nature, when she cleans her ocean, it's through the wave action and turbulence in the ocean. I believe the collision of the microbubbles helps to increase the, as it were, the the static electricity, if you want to call it that, on the surface of the bubbles to help cling the proteins to them. So I like to rotate the flow, and that's why I use the bigger pump. So as this flow goes around, you can see it's rotating counterclockwise, and that increases the exposure time in the reaction chamber greatly, because the bubbles just keep circulating and circulating in the chamber, thus reacting longer to the proteins that are in the water column. So you can see the chamber is basically solid white. I'm going to back away. It's very good density. The microbubble size is very good as well. Get a little closer too, so you can see it's really good coming out of that return there. And you can see there's very few microbubbles hitting that return, and I'm utilizing the bulk of the chamber as well. You can see how low that return is. It's only a couple inches off the bottom of the skimmer, which is another great feature that the microbubble baffle right there, that little acrylic, allows me to utilize every square inch of this chamber. A lot of other skimmers will inject it up several inches higher than mine because they can't, it would overwhelm their return. They would get microbubbles in the return. So this way I'm able to put my return lower and use the whole skimmer chamber, which is the critical part of the skimmer, which is where all the action takes place. I'm going to pan up quickly here and show you the neck of the skimmer. It's already starting to produce. The skimmer was just cleaned yesterday, so you can, it's kind of still breaking in. I just fed a few hours ago, so there is a little bit of production going on here in the neck. And you can see the microbubbles rising in the foam riser, and it's producing pretty good skimmate already. I'm going to let it run a few minutes and turn it back on, and there should be some foam already starting to accumulate up into the cup. So you can see it's running right now, and it's perfectly quiet. You hardly hear any noise at all. This is a very quiet operating skimmer. Very reliable, very rugged. It's a simple design, but it's very, very effective product. The skimmer's been running a few minutes here. I just did a feeding, so I wanted to let you see the skimmer after it's run for a few more minutes here and get an idea of what she can do. You can see the foam riser is really generating quite a bit of foam in the neck, and now we're starting to get some good skimmate and foam in the cup. You can see it spilling over at the top there and starting to collect into the collection cup. So I just want to show you really quickly the skimmer in operation after it's been running a few minutes. I also have some shots of the skimmer before I cleaned it, so you can see how much it really takes out of the water column when it's been running for a while. Again, this is a brand new cleaned out skimmer. It's been running maybe not even an hour. But the chamber has been cured, so that really helps. When you buy a new skimmer, it takes about 3 or 4 days for the chamber to cure and get slimed on the inside before it really starts producing really well. And a trick I tell people is to use a brine shrimp, and you just prime the skimmer section with a couple cubes of brine shrimp with your brand new skimmer, and that'll really help start to get the chamber slimed, because there's no slime coat on a brand new skimmer, and you'll get more microbubbles escaping when you get a new skimmer as well. And as the skimmer cures, the microbubbles will really decrease. It usually takes about 4 to 5 days, and the microbubble escaping the chamber will really decrease after the chamber cures. Again, you can see the skimmer's running. The water's very clear. There's a few microbubbles. Hardly any are escaping from the skimmer. You still get some, like I said before, but it's very minimal. If you have a good baffle system like I do here on my sump, you don't get any into your tank.